Just like we have physical health, we have mental health. I used to be a drug addict myself. With his situation, mine was made up, and it was gonna be, that was just, I mean, unless you were gonna babysit him every day or lock him up in a room or send him somewhere, like I said, what helps me being here. I mean, being here is I'm not even really emotional. It's just more of like I'm glad we can share this, talk about this, and if it touches one person, our job's done. So
As you guys can see, this is sensitive, this is tough. Even just sharing his story is deep, it's personal. He doesn't have to share it. He has passed through the moment. Does grief end? Is the question. He's still grieving. Some days are harder than others. But remember, why is he sharing this? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the All Mercy Podcast Show. I am Mercy, your host. As always, I like to talk about mental health, anything regarding mental health. And yes, we can channel everything to our mental health. What is our health without mental health? Today, we are talking about a very sensitive topic. So let us approach it with a lot of understanding and a lot of empathy. I want to thank you all for participating in this by sending us some of your questions, which will be handled. Of course, we could not ask every question, but we are asking all the questions that can give us answers or openings to what we want to talk about. We are also celebrating the month of May, which is Mental Health Month. That is why we chose this topic so that we can dive deep into things that people don't want to talk about, into things that happen frequently. Like Mental Health America says, every year more than 1 billion people kill themselves or commit suicide. But we don't hear it very often. People don't talk about it very often. It just die in the shadows. I have no one here today but someone who can throw more light into this topic for us. And I'll let him introduce himself. We are so honored to have you here with us. Thank you for coming.
thank you for having me.
Who are you? And let's talk about why you're here.
Yeah, my name's Chase. I run a small business with cars. It's called Exquisite Auto Spa. I'm here with Mercy to talk about suicide. Something that hits close to home. I've had a brother and a best friend, both take their lives that way. So we're here to shed some light on the topic and hopefully share some good stuff with you guys.
Thank you for coming. We truly appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I was thinking it was just your brother. So your brother and your best friend.
Yeah, so brother, and then 3 months later, the best friend. So
Whoa.
a really good friend. So yeah.
Whoa, I cannot imagine how someone will go through that. We always try to use original quotes when we are doing our podcast, and I'm not sure if I've posted this already. If not, it will be posted on Facebook and Instagram as well. So follow us to check our quotes. We always post original quotes in reflection to the topic of the day, and this one says, does grief end? Does the hurt end? Does blame end? Are memories cherished? Are we showing love now knowing what we can not show love after? Throughout this podcast today, we'll see if we are able to answer all these questions, especially, are we showing love now, knowing we cannot show love after? Are we doing that? I want to start by asking Mr. Chase here the first question, and this is an audience question because they know you were coming. They want to know what you're talking about. They know what you're talking about, And the questions were many, but of course, we could not handle all. This is your first audience question. Can you share with us your journey of coping with the losses of your brother and close friend to suicide? How did you initially react to the news? And how has your perspective evolved over time?
Yeah, so the first time hearing the news, it was brother. I think it just for many people it's shock. You really don't know how to react. You don't believe it. You don't. It's just hard to comprehend that. Especially when it's out of nowhere. So coping with it, it was hard. I think reality set in. Pulling up to the place of where it happened. Everything kind of sets in there, and it's kind of an eye opener. As far as coping, I never really had professional help, but with coping, I really just worked a lot. I was in the process of building up my small business, and that was kind of the way of coping. I guess kept the mind off things. Which, with that being said, you're not fully dealing with it. You're kind of running from it. But what helped me is finding people like Mercy. I found someone online that I just connected with as far as what they were talking about. So me following that, it's what helped me. Just kind of understand the things, where that person is. And then my mom also saw some therapy, and just some of the stuff she shared, of course, it was shared with me. So some of that stuff it helped as well.
Wow. So, your brother first,
Yep. And
3 months later, your best friend.
yeah, so him, I think after my brother, I know this sounds crazy, but after my brother, it's almost like you saw it coming with a friend. There just wasn't like, what do you do? We can't babysit grown-ups. We can do what we can do. Again, I was in the process of building my business, but I had a lot of free time around that time, so I spent a lot of days over there with him. Knowing what he was looking at, and knowing that he wasn't going to live through that, I think he had already made up his mind, and it was just a matter of time with him. But I can't say as a friend, learning from my brother, I was there as much as I could be. He was hard-headed. You weren't going to get him to go, see someone like Mercy. Just with what he was dealing with, he wasn't going to. He had gotten some trouble, and it was trouble that you're not really going to get out of, not even with a lawyer. So he was just set on, I'm not going to go do that time in prison.
Wow.
Wow. And so it was kind of expected. But I did what I could as a friend, and was there, tried to talk him, not really out of it, because I didn't know for sure he was going to do that, but that gut feeling, or that, hey, I see where this is going. So just tried to share things as a friend that maybe change that perspective that he was seeing. But obviously, it didn't work. But that one was not as shock, because I just dealt with my brother and kind of anticipated what might come out of this situation, and sure enough, it was worst case scenario, and that was that. So
I don't know if, well, maybe you have not watched one of our podcasts. We talked about traumatic grief. And to the audience as well, I'm not sure if you watch our podcast on traumatic grief. It is on Facebook, it is on YouTube, it is on Instagram, or also traumatic grief, where it comes as a shock. So it's not just grieving a loved one, you're also traumatized by the situation. So I am looking at your circumstance right now. Your brother's own was very traumatic. It was not just grief, but traumatic as well, because it was so much of a
yeah,
shock.
it's such a shock. I remember my mom calling me, and even then, it's confirmed, but like me not being there, it's just a normal day. Like, you're in shock. You don't really know what to think. But then it slowly sets in, and you realize what's happened, what's going on. So yeah. I think a little bit on my background. I come from drug addiction. Used to be a drug addict myself, so I've seen a lot of this stuff, and you see what drugs can do to the mental health. My brother and my friend both using drugs themselves, so I think that played a role into ultimately how both their lives ended. But yeah, I come from a background, so I've seen some of this and overdoses, things like that. I think with me compared to a lot of people, it was almost kind of numb to some of this, just kind of it hits you and you just kind of accept it for what it is. I'm not saying I don't grieve, not saying I don't care, but I'm also, it's just kind of like what's done is done. We can't go back and change it, but what can we do to progress? What can we do to help people in the future? And that's why I'm here. I was invited onto this podcast to talk about it, and hopefully some things we talk about and share can help someone else out there.
And I'm so honored you are here talking about this, because these are topics that many people don't feel comfortable talking about.
For sure.
These are real topics about real things happening out there. People don't feel comfortable talking about themselves or their personal issues.
For sure.
And it is a private issue. And again, share only what you're comfortable sharing.
For sure.
And yes.
I think it's important to talk about it all. Because like you said, not wanting to talk about it, I think that's where people feel judged or feel like you can't relate. So let's talk about it and let's help some people.
So dealing with the loss of a loved one to suicide can be very challenging. Going through all that progress and the complex experience can be very challenging. So what are some of the emotions and thoughts that you have encountered during this process, and how have you managed to navigate through them? Because it happened, it is a shock. Not just is it a shock, you kind of feel like you're in a dream. Like, did it really happen? Maybe let me snap out of this dream.
Yeah.
Let me see what is going on. Then before you know, reality kicks in, and you're still in denial, but reality kicks in. And after that, you go through so many other emotions. How did you navigate through all this? Just going through that is heavy.
So, like I said, I've been in similar shoes. So the way I look at it, like with my brother, is I still try to lead, for others like I would want for my brother. And with my brother, I did try to lead by example. If anybody out there has ever dealt with addiction,
Was it your older brother or your younger
brother? Yeah, younger brother.
How old was he?
He were 3 years apart, so he was I want to say.
Well, how old was he when it happened?
I want to say we were around 21, 22 years old. So pretty young, still barely even got his life started, right?
How young was he is the question. Yeah.
21.
Right.
So I was about 24, somewhere around there. So yeah.
How do you navigate through all those thoughts, those feelings, and still stand up for yourself?
Yeah, it goes back to, life goes on regardless of what happens to other people, loved ones. At the end of the day, our lives still have to go on. I think what helps me and what has helped me is just knowing, when you know these people close to you that have taken their lives, like with my brother, what would he expect out of me, whether he was here or not? You know what I mean? So I try to live life like that. He wouldn't want me to stop my life because of what happened. So that's what keeps me going and living life. I think the hardest part about it is being there for loved ones, because not everybody thinks the same or processes things the same. So I think that's probably one of the most challenging things to deal with. That one's still a tough one to this day. But I just try to live my life, as he was still here, and yeah, so that's pretty much what I do to navigate through that.
Right, and especially asking that question, what would your loved one want you to be doing at this time? It matters a lot, And I have heard so many people say they count on that, or they hold on that strength. They build on that to move forward, thinking that my loved one is gone. What would they want me to be doing at this time? Or how would they want me celebrate their memory? It's something that, and you also talk about addiction. We have an audience question on addiction. I'm going to read this one. Addiction is often intertwined with mental health issues and can contribute to feelings of hopelessness. How has your personal experience with addiction influenced your understanding of the struggles faced by your brother and friend? And how have you coped with your own addiction, dealing with this loss?
Yeah, addiction is just I think a way we tend to. It don't start off as addiction at first. It starts, and then it's just whether it's for fun, but deep down inside, whether you use drugs for fun or narcotic, anything for fun. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think you're coping with something or trying to suppress something. And I'll share my experience. It all started as fun and games, but as life went on, I think there's things that we experience in life that we don't even know how to react properly to, or in a healthy manner. So I think the easiest thing to turn to is alcohol and drugs, because you can numb everything out. But at the end of the day, I think addiction is going to lead to poor mental health. I've been on both sides. I've been hopeless and just accepted I was a drug addict, to now taking care of the kid, the family, and trying to run a business. So, but definitely I wouldn't be where I was at today or be able to push or take care of what I take care of if it wasn't for getting sober and having this business. So I, I think the best way to cope with addiction is do the hard stuff. We gotta find a way out of that, whether it's rehab, whether it's just stopping. I was blessed enough I was able to just stop. I was able to just quit and continue that and just have the willpower to not want to go back. But it's definitely going to lead you down a dark path, hopelessness and things like that. Yeah, I think the hardest part is just getting off.
You're strong. Not many people are able to just quit.
Yes, I agree with that.
Roller coasters.
I agree with that, and that's why I say I was blessed. Because that was with my brother. I chose to stop.
Did you stop after or before?
Before we there was some use together. But what didn't set well with me is me. I think in the back of my mind, I always knew I could sober up and get started with life and pick up off of that. But from what I've seen, experienced, not a lot of people are able to do that. And that's one of the reasons, what encouraged me to quit was, I watched my brother, and that's your brother. So watching him struggle to stop, that didn't sit well with me, almost like guilty, because I know I could just stop. And I did that as to try to lead by example. But it's not always that easy just to quit, obviously. But I did do that to try to lead by example and shift the dynamics of things.
You said something very important. I want us to touch on that a little bit. Very important. With addiction, what is addiction, by the way? When something influences your functionality, when you take something and start developing a high.
Yeah, it's you create a bad habit with it.
Abuse.
Yeah, and then anytime life gets hard, that's what you run to. And the problem with that is, back to mental health, when you're running from your problems, you're not dealing with them, you're not fixing anything.
You're numbing them and they're still there.
And still there, and you're not dealing with it, it's going to get harder when you're sober, because you still got to deal with it eventually. So
if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you.
For sure. And your mental health is only going to deteriorate. So just like we work out our muscles and, we go to the gym to get fit, I think it's important we all do that with our mental health. Something's challenging you in your life, you look your face on and you do the challenge. It might not be perfect, but you challenge yourself, and that's going to build up your mental for sure.
I like, please say that again. Just as we work out in the gym.
Yeah, to get fit, we have to do that with our mental health. Just like we have physical health, we have mental health. I think a lot of people get stuck. They don't know what to do with mental
Right,
health.
right. They don't work it out.
But my opinion or feedback on it is let's do these hard things. Let's look
Some
these hard
people don't
things.
work out on their mental health.
Yep, and you have to. Just yeah, and it's never easy. Just like when we get overweight or whatever the case may be, and then you want to hit that gym and lose that weight. It's hard work.
Yeah.
Same thing up here. Something might be presented to you in your life that you have to work through. So instead of running to drugs or looking for an outside source to help you cope, use that as your coping. Go into that, accomplish it. You're gonna feel better when you do, and you're only gonna get stronger from there. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I needed more people to hear that. Just as you work out in the gym, Mr. Chase said, just as you work out in the gym, you build your muscles. Take time for your mental health. Take time to build your mental health. And if you're already at risk for certain things mentally, take time also to stay away from them, one day at a time. He sought care. We can all seek care as well. Sometimes things happen that when we look back at those things, we think that maybe we should have handled them differently, or we think that maybe we missed something. I want to ask you this question. When you look back, how long was your brother, has your brother been gone?
Oh man, it's kind of losing track now. Let's see, I'm 30, so I want to say around 5 6 year mark, somewhere around
Right.
there. So.
When you look back, I know that there are days that you go back on time and rewind and replay. Did you get some subtle cues like maybe I should have seen this, maybe I saw this and didn't pay attention to it, maybe, and not that paying attention to it may have changed the outcome, but did you
Yeah.
get some any cues like
Yeah, maybe a little bit. When you watch someone struggle, I think my brother was prideful too. Young kid, kind of had his own business going, but obviously there's other things he struggled and dealt with. Um, so like I said with the friend, some of the signs were more noticeable because you just experienced it. So I mean, I think there was signs and I think one time he maybe mentioned something about those thoughts, but at the time, never really dealing with that before, you just kind of check on them and make sure that's not something they would act on. So, maybe that one, if I look back, maybe that one conversation, knowing what I know now, maybe took a different approach to it rather than just, yeah, you're okay, you wouldn't do that, would you? And then take their word for it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was talking to someone the other day, and it seems like a lot of people that are really going to do something like that. There might be signs, but it was out of nowhere. Like I really didn't expect it. Yeah, we had talked. Yeah, I knew he was struggling with some things, but the reason why we didn't expect it was, with this situation specifically, my brother had finally just kind of come clean about some things, drug use, things like that. Reached out to my mother and wanted to ask for help to get his life on track. So it goes back to like what you said, reach out for that help, and get it. It was an unfortunate thing because a day later he would have been with my mom, hopefully restarting his life, getting clean and all of that. So we didn't expect, the plan was already out on what we were going to do to get him back on track, right? So what happened, it was out of the, I think something just got the best of him in his head and he lost that battle.
right,
If he could have stuck it out one more day, I think he'd still be here today.
right.
But I don't think we know. I think because I've seen a lot of people too that will talk about suicide and then not that we want anybody to do this, but never done anything, and it's like that's a cry for help. It's
Yeah.
attention seeking.
Oh,
I
I
feel like
hate it when
the ones that are actually going to do it are the ones that they don't talk about it. You don't
right.
expect it. It's out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But that's why it's important to pay attention to the subtle signs that you might
Right,
see.
right. So some people will actually say it and try to do it. Some people will not say it and it will just come out of nowhere, while some people will say it and will not do it. But because we don't know when they will actually do it, we cannot call it attention seeking. I'm so glad you said that, because it has been called attention seeking. It has been called, oh, it's just a cry for help. He will figure that out. He has said that multiple times and nothing happened. We should treat every case as an emergency, because we don't know. He may have said it 10 times and he did not do it. Maybe the 11th time is when he will do it. Maybe it is attention seeking. We don't know. Let us treat it as an emergency. If it becomes that it is attention seeking, then we can reroute and get help in another way. And that leads me to another question from the audience. Losing someone to suicide can be an immense shock, leaving friends and family with a range of emotions. How have you and your immediate family coped with this profound loss? What strategies have you found helpful in navigating the grieving process?
Yeah, family is always number one. I think a lot of us have, become closer with each other because of that. So I always try to, make some time to go out see my family and stuff. And we don't have my brother, so I got to pick up that extra piece. Can you ask what was the second part of that question?
The second part of the question was, what strategies have you found helpful in navigating the grieving process
Oh yeah.
together as a family?
So yeah, we get together as a family. I know my mother. She's seen some professional help. I think that's helped her cope, and she still struggles with things. It's her son. I think we asked ourselves a lot of questions for a long time after something like that happened. Me, I just tried to do things differently. Be there for the family. Be more family oriented, show more attention to someone that might be going through something. You can never tell anybody what to do. Ultimately, people are going to do what they would like to do, but you can shed some light, hopefully shed a new perspective.
And you said it has somehow brought you people closer as well.
And that's what's helped me, is just like we're here now. That's something I experienced in my life. I was invited here, and I felt like this was going to be a good opportunity to maybe touch someone else out there. So that's the way I cope with it. Music is another way. Like I said, I never saw professional help, but music and just changing the way I do things in the future is like what's been the biggest, I think played the biggest role in my life with coping and navigating through all of this.
I just really want to appreciate your reason why you're sharing this, to help someone out there. As you guys can see, this is sensitive, this is tough. Even just sharing his story is deep, it's personal. He doesn't have to share it. He has passed through the moment. Does grief end is the question. He's still grieving. Some days are harder than others. But remember, why is he sharing this? So that someone out there can gain something, can be more insightful, especially if they have a family member struggling, especially if they are struggling. If you're struggling yourself, help is always there. Help is always there. You can always call the number on the screen. You can always check your local listings and get help. Even if you don't think that, yes, you have a plan that you can carve it out and do something, even if you don't believe that you will do it, but if those thoughts are recurrent, coming over and over, persistent thoughts of suicide, get help. If you're not sure what number to call, you can just call 911. Get help. There is help there. More help than ever before. It is so hard that sometimes we think we have an option, and we think that taking our lives is the best option. Think of the family all the friends, all the contribution to humanity that will be lost by you deciding to take your own life. It is not the best option when you have help, especially if it is a mental health issue. There is help everywhere. You may be suffering from something that you think there is no outlet. You may be suffering from something that you think there's no solution, there's no resolution, there's no answer. This is where I want to say, please, don't always believe in what you're thinking. The thoughts may be persistent. It doesn't mean they are the right thoughts. The thoughts may be persistent. It doesn't mean someone cannot guide you elsewhere. The thoughts may be the first thing you think about, the second thing you think about, and the last thing you think about going to bed at night. It doesn't mean help is not there. Open up. Endeavor to dare yourself, to challenge yourself and say, I will not have these thoughts. Or I have control over these thoughts. I don't want to believe these thoughts. You may be surprised at the other life, at the beginning of the other opportunity that you have as a life. So now running a business, living with family, it is still hurting. How has this affected your next part of you living? How has this changed who you are?
Yeah, I think it just one just makes you want to be a better person. Just makes you want to be a better person. So one, I wish I could have done more for my brother. So I'll use that as a learning experience and take what I can from it. What can I do to be a better leader? What can I do to be a better person, better friend, better family member? That way, if someone needs to talk, and that's why I believe in being so open about it. I feel like when we hide things, it's going to make people hard that are really dealing with real stuff to come out and talk about it. We're going to be open, vulnerable. It shows the other person that needs help that they're not the only one that's vulnerable. So I encourage being vulnerable, be honest, quit carrying shame over stuff like this.
Yeah,
I don't
and
think
being vulnerable is something we don't do a lot.
And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Why we have the stigma that there is, I'm not sure. But it's okay to be vulnerable. I think what it is, there's people out there that do want to take advantage. So people try to protect that. But I encourage it. Be vulnerable. Be open. Be honest. That way, when the person that's really going through some stuff, maybe someone watching this, really going through some stuff, lay it all out on the table. That way they don't feel like, oh, that person doesn't understand, or oh, that person, because you get that a lot. I feel like you've probably heard that. But that's why I like to be open.
Yeah, we get it all the time.
That's why I like to be open,
You don't understand.
And all of our situations are different, of course. But I think my deal with being vulnerable and open about everything is just,
And
so someone doesn't
sometimes
feel like
we cannot understand. Sometimes we may not understand.
Big one,
we can
yeah.
just imagine. Because sometimes you have to wear that shoe to feel exactly where it's pinching or where it's hurting. But we have gone through so many experiences with different people. We can imagine how it feels like. But one thing for sure that we know we do understand is that there is help there.
Yeah.
There is help out there.
And everything's temporary. Those thoughts are
Oh,
temporary.
I love that. Everything is temporary. It's not
we get
permanent.
stuck in our head. We feel like it's the end of the world. And that's what I've learned from, actually my mom's side of therapy. She's the one that brought it to my attention. One thing a lot of people that do commit suicide have in common is the lack of hope, a lack of a future, a lack of seeing in the future. Just remember all of this is, all those thoughts are temporary. But also remember that you're the one that has to put in the work to move forward. I think that's a big part of the puzzle too.
Right.
We have to put in that work and get the needle moving forward. Because if not, we are going to feel stuck. You got to get out there and do those hard things, have those hard conversations, the hard decisions, whether it's reaching out to somebody. And if you don't have anybody close you can trust, I know some people are out there in a situation like that. I think Mercy's mentioned a few ways you can you can get out there and talk to someone that will actually care. Because I think we do know there are people out there that just don't have that luxury or that someone by them that actually cares. But like she said, there's somebody out there that can help and listen.
Yes, yes. And being vulnerable is sometimes difficult, but remember,
Yeah.
you're not alone. If that thought is coming into your head, you're not alone. It's coming into millions of heads as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You're not alone. You may be that person who uplifts the next person. You may be sharing it to someone who has already experienced that, and they will tell you how they walked past that. You may be sharing it with an experienced counselor or a psychiatrist or a mental health provider. And there are so many steps on how you can go about that to liberate yourself from that thought. It may not be easy to be vulnerable, but even choosing suicide is not an easy decision. And it may also not be easy to live with yourself, no matter what is in your head, thinking about what circumstances you're going through or what hardships you're going through. It may just be an imbalance of chemicals in your head. It may just be some neurotransmitters imbalance. It may be something that you think is grave, but it's not as grave as you think it is. Share it with somebody and see what light can be in the other tunnel. Or it may be something that you just have to work on it.
Yeah.
Put the work on it.
For sure. I think that at the end of the day, I think that's because those aren't normal thoughts. We weren't born to have those thoughts. Just like anything else, you put in the work. And there's tools and resources out there for you to use to strengthen up that mental health. And my number one thing is stay away from drugs and even alcohol.
Stay away from drugs.
Don't use it. I know
they alter your mind. They make you think sometimes things that you're not even supposed to be thinking about.
Yeah, 100%. So that's the because that's what I experienced. So that's always first one. Stay away from that. I think, to be honest, someone that deals with those thoughts that aren't tied to drugs, I think that's a hard topic for me because I didn't live. I didn't. Most of what I've been around, I feel like drugs has been the ultimate reason to deteriorate mental health. I think there's other ways out there too, but that's what I've experienced. So that's always my first deal is, stay away from the drugs, get off of them, do what you got to do.
Stay away from drugs.
And it's baby steps. You know what I mean? It's
One
baby
day at a
steps.
time.
Stop, get help. Baby
And sometimes
steps.
when we talk about drugs, some people do not understand that alcohol is a drug as well.
It is, and I think we use it socially, but then we also know that there's a lot of people who just go home and that's how they cope with to escape reality. So, but yeah, drugs and alcohol.
I like it. Escape reality.
Yeah.
But how much do you escape reality with drugs? Because you take a bottle of whiskey and go to sleep. You wake up. The problem is still there.
100%,
The issue is still there. The
100%.
reality
but
is still there.
That's where the cycle starts.
That's where the
because
addiction comes in.
You're gonna wake up and whatever it is, you're gonna use that to cope.
That's where the abuse and addiction comes in.
Yep.
And
it gets
please,
worse.
because you develop a high tolerance for it. What you could take before, you need more and more to start numbing, to continue to numb
And then
it.
you're having financial issues. And that contributes to your mental health because now you feel like you can't get ahead or get by. Like, there are so many factors. I know everybody's situation is different, but these are all real life things that people experience every day.
And also, if you haven't watched it, we have talked about substance abuse. We have a topic on substance abuse in our YouTube channel. You can watch it. I think that was last year or so. We talked about substance abuse in our YouTube channel. This will take me to the next question, sir. It says, it's common for individuals to have lost loved ones to suicide to experience. It's common for individuals who have lost loved ones to suicide to experience feelings of guilt.
Yeah,
and self-blame. Have you encountered these emotions, and if so, how have you learned to cope with them? What advice would you give to others who may be struggling with similar feelings?
Yeah, I think it's a normal feeling to feel that way when you lose, someone that way. So the way I've dealt with it is
So was there at any one point in time where you felt guilt?
I think you ultimately, just what could I have done? There's something I could have done. Normal thoughts, something I could have done. Where did I go wrong? But at the end of the day, I didn't make that decision. It wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? So, the way I've dealt with it is just really have learned to understand that it's not my fault. It was out of my control. I did do things as an older brother to try to change that perception and help my little brother out. But I think guilt's normal, and I've just learned that hey, it's not my fault. Life's gonna continue on. But what can I do better? What can I do to help others out there in the future? So that's what's kind of helped me. Just like we're here, this makes me feel good about everything.
Right.
Because if I wouldn't experience that, I probably wouldn't be right here right now talking with you. So that's what's helped me with it. With the guilt, things like that. But I think it's a normal feeling that anybody's gonna deal with.
I think I want to agree with you that I think it's a normal feeling because you're thinking, did I miss something?
Yeah.
Or
what could I have done?
What could you have done? And sometimes maybe there's nothing you could have done because what they are presenting or the way they are telling you, it may not even be the way they are planning to exit this world.
Right.
So maybe there's not, but yeah, it's like, even as a parent, sometimes you feel like your child can do something and you blame yourself.
I think parents deal with it the worst because that's their baby. Because that's my brother, but I can't say I understand what my mom went through. You know what I mean? So different dynamic there. It doesn't change the fact you lost someone and it hurts, but probably different type of bonds. There are different things there that I think makes it harder for the parents.
I can't even imagine.
But that's why I want to, try to be strong too. Someone's got to be strong through it all, right?
Absolutely.
So I kind of just throughout all of this, even with the friends, just put the big boy pants on. But it's helped. Me choosing to, accept it, be strong even when I feel weak or,
and with
because someone else needs you. You know what I mean?
Someone else needs you. And with you not even seeking professional help, but your mom sought professional help.
Yeah.
Do you think you see a difference with her seeking professional help?
For sure.
From if she had not
sure, because I want to say that my mom probably took her the longest to get over it. And I doubt she's still over it. You know what I mean? But
that's her baby.
But my mom definitely a lot healthier, a lot happier. And I just try to keep her that way. We definitely talk more. I think.
So you think professional help has helped?
100%. 100%. I wouldn't oppose of seeing professional help, but with the way everything went, how my life is gone, I just didn't. But I do think yes, with what we've seen from my mom, I think professional help definitely helps. It's just someone that truly understands what's going on in the head. Me, I can't say I do. Y'all go to school, y'all go through a lot to understand the chemicals and how everything works in the brain. And that's why I think.
Let me ask you this: you don't have to answer. Okay?
Go for it. Let's hear it.
You don't have to answer. Looking back, do you think specifically with your brother or your friend, do you think there is something that you could have done that would have changed the outcome? And remember, you may not have changed the outcome, but do you think there is something that you could have done?
I mean, I think there's always something you could have done. I think it's like with the friend, I don't think so. With his situation, mine was made up, and it was gonna be, that was just. I mean, unless you were gonna babysit him every day or lock him up in a room or send him somewhere, and that's the thing with him. I just really, with him personally, I really don't think there was anything anyone could have done, because of what he was looking at. It was just to him that was the end. With my brother, I think. If pretty much would have had just, he was making those steps to, like what you said, or you're asking me the question, is there anything you could have done? I think everybody was making those steps to prevent it from happening or to prevent anything bad from happening to them. So I want to say that everybody was, he was supposed to move with my mom. They had talked, one more day, he was going to move. They were going to get on moving in.
One more day.
So I want to say, some people yes, some people no. With my brother, I feel like we were, mainly my mom, they were pushing and putting things in place to help him out and to fix that mental health and to fix the way he was viewing life, and get clean. So yes, I think there always is something you can do, but I think another thing is how practical is what you're doing. You know what I mean? Just like with my friend, I think if someone could have babysitted him and been there with him 24/7, but even then I think he still would have. But again, that goes back to like how practical is that? We all have our own lives we have to live in too. So it can be good question.
It can be very tricky.
Yeah,
it can be very tricky, and even when we work in the hospital with people who have suicidal ideation, we put them on watch 24/7.
Yeah.
It's still very tricky to put someone on watch 24/7 in daily lives.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to drag him everywhere with you? Are you? And even when we put them on watch 24/7, we still go by how they are feeling and what they are expressing. And they can still tell you that, okay, I don't have the thoughts no more. It's gone. And we still watch them for the next 24, 48, 72 hours post having those thoughts. You don't know if they are just telling you so that you could back off their tail, or you don't know if they mean it.
Yeah.
And if they mean it, the moment when you decide that, okay, they are fine now, they are not having those thoughts, we don't have to watch them no more. What if the thoughts just come right back?
And that's where it gets tricky. And that's why I think, deep down inside, the person that's dealing with these, because it's not always something me and you can do. I think, when we deal with these thoughts, and that's where it gets tricky, because, you've gone through so much. Let's just put ourselves in the shoes of someone that might, want to do that or have done it. Like, you feel like you've gone through so much. You feel tired. You feel tapped out. So who wants to do the hard stuff? Who wants to put in the hard work to get better? No one ever does. So that's where it gets tricky, because, they have to, I feel like they have to have a little, now that's where the help comes in, but they have to have a little bit of want and drive to get headed in the right direction as well.
It takes both you and that person. It takes all of us to tangle to get to
and that's why there's a lot of tricky areas.
Yeah.
So, because you can't just fix someone that might be mentally ill or suicidal. It's not just a magic fix. There's probably a chain of events and things that might have got them to that state of mind. It's going to take just as much work, if not more, to kind of get you back, out of that.
And you're not the only one doing the work. They have to put in the work.
For sure. Yes.
They have to want to live, to stay alive.
Yeah. But that's where having loved ones to care, and that, because my big deal is you can never. I can't make anybody not want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can share some words or something that just might hit that switch and change the perspective on something, then hey, I was able to do something, right? So, but then again, it goes back to that tricky part. Thoughts could come back. This, and this. And I wanted to kind of touch base on, like, earlier. I didn't mean to sound insensitive with being, attention seeking, things like that. I think it's just.
Oh no, trust me.
We need to take it.
We've seen a lot of cases, and we've seen people.
But we gotta take it serious, and the people that really aren't feeling that way, that's not the way. That's not gonna help you. That's not gonna, and it makes it harder for the people that really are dealing with it. I think that was like the point I was trying to make with that. So,
yeah, it's true. People actually say, "Oh, I'm doing this to call for attention."
Yeah.
But at what point?
But at some point, they need your attention somewhere. They won't be screaming for it. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying those people don't need help too.
If that's what you're using to seek attention, then something is broken that needs to be fixed.
You still need some help too somewhere. Yes. You know what I mean? I might be 100% suicidal or really have those thoughts, but again, I'm a firm believer in the subconscious mind and how powerful it is.
Absolutely.
You tell yourself you're going to do that enough, eventually you're going to convince yourself that that's the way out, or that's what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You talked something about that support being there, and especially as a family, being there to support.
Yeah.
In mental health, what we have noticed and still noticing is that having those support network is crucial.
It is.
It's very crucial, especially when it is a network, not just a person.
Yeah.
Because let's say you are that my to go person, and I call you when I'm really, really trying to talk to you,
Yeah.
and you don't pick up. I have that option of calling A, B, C
Yes.
when it is a network.
Yes.
So building that network is very crucial to stay mentally fit.
Yeah.
Do you have like your support network, your support
Yeah, I've been
entourage?
beyond blessed.
And what will you tell people who are struggling? How can they form a support network?
Yeah, so I've been super blessed, mom and dad's side of the family, to have the network that we have and just loved ones that care. So, I'm blessed. But I know not everybody has that. And for those that don't, man, we got Facebook, we got Instagram, and we have, the social media.
YouTube University.
YouTube too, But I feel like I say Facebook and not even so much Instagram, but Facebook for sure. Facebook has more of these groups where you can really dig in and find you a group of like-minded people. Now I've never went and looked, but there's something out there for everything. I'm in it for my business, detailing, like you name it, so me, I feel like if you don't have the support system that another one may have, or you just don't have anybody to turn to, or you've lost everybody, there's still people out there that are dealing with what you're dealing with, and they would probably love to connect to someone like-minded. So there's ways, she's mentioned a few, but sometimes you really got to build those relationships up and have someone, because it's not, we don't just call someone random and tell them everything. Can we trust, sometimes you have to find someone you can trust. Trust's not always just there. Sometimes trust is earned. But there are other avenues to seek if you don't have that strong family support system. And even if you don't have any friends, there's still other people that are in the same shoes that would probably love to connect. So
there is always someone there to talk to. We can be vulnerable, but sometimes I like to say selective vulnerability, because some people will take your vulnerability against you. They use it against you.
For sure.
Going through all this traumatic, profound loss, have you found a way to build joy? Have you found a way to be happy? We are not trying to erase the memory.
No, for sure. You can't live your life sad and depressed and always think about your loved one that may have done that. You really think deep down inside is how they want you to live just because of one decision they made. Unfortunately, that decision was something that can't be turned around, or it's irreversible. Mm-hmm. But I know my brother wouldn't want me just sad about him all the time. I'm going to go live life for him. That's the way I look at it. He was a...
live life for him.
I helped him with his small business. Unfortunate thing was we just happened to both be on drugs at the time. And it's like today, I just got to do it for him, because like if you were here, I've learned a lot. I'd be even more help to you. Not just labor-wise, but to truly help your business, go somewhere, grow, whatever it is.
For people who are going through that as well, what advice can you give them on how to find joy, on how to live again, on how to live life for their loved ones, like you're living for your brother?
Yeah. So I think the dynamic of your relationships can have a lot to do with that. With that person. But me, yeah, it's just I want to be happy. I don't want to be. I want my mental to get there to where I want to do something like that to myself. So, I just try to, find hobbies, find something you love, and go do that. Other avenues that help me is like being here. Anytime I hear someone that might be in a weak mindset, I don't ever want to come off as that person. It's like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. But it's like, hey, if I can share some of what I've been through, some things that help me. Not saying they're gonna help you. Just let me shed my
It may not help. One size does
Maybe
not
something
fit all,
clicks.
but something click.
I can walk away knowing, hey, at least I shared some things to help me.
And it may help.
Whether it saves them or not, it's like, hey, I can walk away knowing that I did what I could. You know what I mean? So
And just by sharing that, maybe they don't have to wear the same shoe to get the help. Maybe they don't have to walk the same path that you walk through to
yeah,
get it. But just by sharing that, and just by that person seeing you or hearing your story and knowing that you are living happily,
yeah.
it may give them hope.
Yeah. Because what I've learned is don't make feel like, back to like what I said earlier, some people like say, you don't know what I'm going through, you just don't understand. No, maybe we can, maybe the situation, but one thing that is common, or I guess, feelings, emotions, all of those are the same. You know what I mean? We all share those, so it's like, I might not be in your exact shoes, but I've had these emotions, I've had these feelings,
Right.
this is what I did. Not saying like
And
not saying
I
it's gonna
survived
help,
it, or I'm surviving it.
yes, and maybe that gives them a little hope. Like but it's still tricky. It can still be tricky. But I just try to just help where I can when I can. So and I just felt like it was my duty to come here on your show and share.
Remember, yeah, you're not alone. You're never alone.
Yeah.
911 is easier to dial than any number. That's the first thing that even they teach in school.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to say too. Just kind of popped in my head one of your questions. What could you have done different? I think one of the main things, you might have more statistics, but I see my guns are like one of the main ways. But I also believe that if they don't have the gun and they really want to do it, they'll find a way.
If you don't mind me asking,
Well, my brother had a gun, yes, and back to your question you asked earlier, probably removing that gun from the house, maybe it would have helped. Maybe you would have found another way. But to the answer to that question from earlier, because I know that question was kind of out of the blue, would be maybe go get that gun or something of that nature. That would probably be like the one thing that would have done differently.
Right.
Yep, yep.
Right. Maybe, who knows? Maybe you would have done. Maybe you would have found another plan.
Exactly, but I think it goes back. Because my brother was really going through it. From what we learned, just journals, things like that. So some things I can't relate to. But could also be understanding of why something could have clicked that night and made that happen. But yeah, the gun probably try to get out of their possession. Same with the other friend. I don't see that happening. Different with a brother. Friend, just know how he is, hard-headed. I think that one would have been hard, but if I could have done anything different, to answer your question from earlier, probably been making a point to get the guns out of their possession.
Right. But remember, I really don't want you to hold you against that, or I don't want you to hold yourself
No,
back.
you can't. You can't. I mean, because we can always sit there. I mean, that's
You guys already had a plan. He's moving it with mom. This getting clean,
And
step by step. One day to that.
I think it was just the weakness, like just not him weakness, but just there was that weak moment that just got the best of him. You know what I mean? So yeah, but that's the thing with life. We can always do something and go back and look at it, like what can I do different? I mean that's with anything. So you can't hold that guilt to yourself.
I'm so
like
happy
it was
you're
your
saying
fault.
that, because I am so sure so many people are struggling with that guilt or that self-blame. Maybe if I had done this, maybe if I had done this. When the intent is there, trust me, if they do not get the help or if they do not actively want to leave and get the help, they will find a way. They will find, if you look at different measures at which people go to kill themselves or to commit suicide, they are so creative about it. Something that you will never think about. They will find that as a plan to do that. So yes, like Mr. Chase said, do not blame yourself. Do not hold yourself up in a cage with self-blame, thinking that, oh, I could have done this differently. I could have done that. I could have done that. What you can easily do as well is what you did, because you did what you knew how to do. Now, if you know someone is struggling and you're not sure, you're perceiving them, but you're not sure what level they are, seek professional help, create a support network, do the best that you can so that they learn to live, so that they can accept life. Call 911, call 988. 988 is the suicide crisis hotline. You can even chat 988 in different languages. It's 24/7. Someone will pick up. Call that number. It's free to call. Call the number. Someone will pick up. You were about to say something, Mr. Chase?
I was just going to ask you, you being the professional on this subject, I mean, do you feel like the people that do get stuck in that guilt phase, does that help their mental health, or does that put a roadblock in their mental health?
That put a roadblock on their mental health.
So, and that's why I encourage, and go live
and
life.
it even makes them depressed.
Yes.
Because it goes to a point where they're not just grieving, but they start suffering themselves.
Yeah.
They start holding themselves accountable for somebody else's action.
And that's why I always try to encourage people, regardless of the situation, because we all go through things in life. Some have it worse than others, some have it better than others, but we all go through traumatic experiences. We all go through, these things. But like, I've always just tried to encourage people that have lost loved ones, like, man, just go out there and live life. Don't. And I know this sounds kind of like, this is just me being direct, but like, I know it sounds kind of, maybe like, just go live life. Don't let that, yes, it's sad, and yes, we miss them. Yes, we wish they were here, but don't let that stop your life. I mean, go out there, do something productive, stay on those high frequencies, stay out of the guilt and the shame phases, I know it's hard.
Stay on those high frequencies.
But
I love that.
Push past that, same thing with that, what's done is not temporary, like our loved one never coming back, but the feelings, like we gotta keep pushing forward, you know what I mean? And I've always encouraged that, and I know it, like, I try to be a little like tiptoe when I say that, because I don't want people to think, oh, he just don't care, no, he just don't understand. But it's like, just because we lost a loved one to something like that doesn't mean we don't deserve to be happy and finish living our life. So that I've just always been a big advocate for, just keep moving forward, find a way to be happy. There is a way. We're always gonna miss our loved ones, but we can find that happiness and the urge to keep moving forward. Like I said, what helps me being here. I mean, being here is I'm not even really emotional. It's just more of like I'm glad we can share this, talk about this, and if it touches one person, our job's done. So that's what helps me with a lot of it. I can't go back to change what's happened, but if I could be a better person or jump on here and discuss some real feelings with you.
I think you answered the question before I even asked, like, what message of hope do you want to give someone out there? And you did.
Yeah.
Follow the higher frequencies. It's not because you love someone that even when you have something going on that you have to be happy, you feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Don't lock yourself with self blame.
Yeah, and don't do that because there's a lot of factors that play into all this, and a lot of this from my personal experience, right? So I know my brother wouldn't want me here just moping and just not being happy with life. If anything, he'd want everybody to not feel like he was feeling. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, because it's
and
dreadful.
I think anybody that feels like that knows what it feels like, and they don't wish it upon anybody. So therefore, they wouldn't wish that upon you. Don't feel that way. Go live life. Go be happy. And I know easier said than done, but find things that you have to do. Build the blueprint. We have more control over things than we may think we do, especially just in the world we live in today. But just keep in mind,
don't believe everything you're thinking.
Yeah, you definitely have more control and power than you think you do. I
want you to leave us with this thought: does grieving end? Your personal.
That's
experience.
a good question. I really don't think it does fully. Just like last night, maybe just coming on here, there's a few bands my brother liked. Now I sit back and actually listen to them, and it's like, dang, he didn't just like them, like he was relating to this stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't think, because I think that was a form of grieving, just kind of listening to that music. I just kind of, I wasn't getting sad or down. It was just more like, what's the best way to put it? Like in memory. Just kind of remember that that's what my brother listened to. That's what he liked. Now I see why he liked it. I think that's like a form of grieving. So,
right.
Does grieving ever stop? I don't want to say it does. Just looking back at people others I know have experienced, I think we always find which is okay. But I think we all find a little deal to like kind of grieve. You know, I feel like last night that was like a form of grieving.
Does the hurt? Does the hurt end?
Oh, that one. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't want to say it doesn't end, but you don't weigh on me as much. You know what I mean? So I think there's always going to be a little weak moment or something that just hits you right. It kind of makes you think back or a memory. So I think the pain's always going to be there a little bit. You know what I mean? It might come and go. Maybe I haven't lived long enough to know if it does fully. You know what I mean? So, but as of now, I think it always lingers around. Same with grief. And maybe it's I haven't completed my process. You know what I mean? But as of now, you asking me that question, I think it always lingers around a little bit. Which me, I'm cool with it because my brother's not here.
But do you cherish the memories?
100%. 100%. Oh yeah. 100%. For sure on that one.
Do you wish you had loved him more?
I can't say that because I love everybody that comes into my life.
And you and him,
like I'm a big believer
close, so you loved him.
Yeah, me and my brother, we were same mom, different dads. So when I moved to my dad's, he moved to his dad. We grew apart a little bit, just different age gap. This might sound crazy, but like one good thing out of drug use that came out, it was kind of me and my brother getting reconnected on a close level. No, that sounds crazy, but him knowing I was using, I learned that he did. It did at least get us every day together. You know what I mean? So as crazy as that sounds, I'm glad we had it.
Nurturing that support, building that support.
Well, neither one of us were good for each other at that time.
Right.
But it's like back to the memories, back to the, I would have hated both of us going to our dads, being 3 years apart, not really getting rekindled, and then home be gone. Because then it was like, where was I? You know what I mean? So for us to, use those negative times to have time together, bond, get close, I'm glad that they were there. Do I wish it could have been different? Absolutely. But hey, I'll take that and be appreciative and thankful that I got that time because that's what we don't get back is time.
Like talking to the general public right now, do you think that we should show more love? We should show more compassion? Yeah, 100%. Because we don't know when we will not be able to do that.
100%. 100%. We should. It's hard because not everybody lives that way, and there's a lot of hate out there. Social media, bullying, hating. I mean, and people just say it because they can say it. You know what I mean? But it's like we can hate for no reason. Why can't we show some love for no reason? Why can't we? You know what I mean? Why can't we show some? It doesn't make much sense.
We can hate for no reason. Why can't we show some love for no reason?
Yep.
But
at the end of the day, I think we have to realize how big of an issue mental health is. We can't change the way this world turns and works. But what we can do is work on ourselves. And I think the way the world spins and everything that goes on in this world, how productive these countries have to be, capitalism, I think that plays a huge role into, because not everybody's built for that kind of lifestyle. Me as an entrepreneur, I chose to take on all that. But not everybody. Some people just trying to live life. You know what I mean? But when they're dealing with all this stuff, so we got to practice things to help us with that because we can't change the world the way the world is. As much maybe if we all stood up, but the world kind of goes how the world goes, and we're just playing our part in it. So it's important for us to. I think it's super important for us to work on ourselves, and whether it's hit the gym, because gym doesn't just help you physically. It helps you mentally too. It does.
Yeah,
so,
because you secrete some dopamine, some serotonin. Makes you feel good.
So yeah. So we can't change the way the world works, and I think there's a lot of things in this world that play a role into our mental health. So that's why it's important for us to to take care of ourselves.
I think you blessed my day today. You are definitely
Thank you for
coming
that.
back because we have part 2 of substance abuse sometime coming
I would
up.
love to. I would
You
love
are
to.
definitely coming back. Thank you so much for sharing this time with us. Thank you. And this is the first time you're talking about.
Openly like this, yes. And honestly, you've kind of, you know, what was I gonna say?
I'm trying to touch.
Well, it's kind of, what was I gonna say? Like helped in some ways.
Yeah.
And, you know, just getting to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I was happy to. I'll be happy to drop more. You
Yes,
know, on your
please.
substance abuse. But I want to say too, it's helped because sometimes I feel like. Because I've seen how other people react to suicide and things like that, and I've always reacted a little different, always been a little more resilient. So sometimes I feel like...
And people think it's foreign. People think it's alien. It's not.
And
it can happen to
So
anybody.
that's what I'm saying. Being here talking about it's helped me, I guess, be more human about it. Because me, I don't know, like you said, we don't know what to tell people. We don't know how. I mean, I'll always be there for somebody. I'll always shed some light. But it's still always hard knowing you didn't help 100%. You know, maybe you did, but being a little more vulnerable about it and open about it's helped. Because, yeah, sometimes I feel like people don't understand me because of how I reacted to everything. So it was great to come on here and be open about something.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're definitely coming back,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chase. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
I have learned a lot today. A lot. It's been a privilege to have Mr. Chase here. I forgot to ask you one thing though. Where can the audience find you? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, I might get a personal account going soon, especially if we can touch people's lives. But if you want to find me for now, I'm just Chase Miser on Facebook. I got a professional account, so I'll let anybody following me. You can follow me there. And then...
so just your name, Chase Miser?
Yeah, Chase Miser. That's Chase, you know, like Chase Bank, and then last name's Miser, M-I-S-E-R. Should be easy to find, but that's one way. Then if you love cars, you can follow my business page, which is at Exquisite Auto Spa on Instagram. Exquisite is spelled Xquisite. If you love cars, go over there and you can follow us.
Excuse it without the E.
Exquisite, yes, without the E. We did it a little different. So Exquisite Auto Spa. That's where you can find us, and hopefully something cool will come up out of this. Maybe we can start a personal page and maybe start sharing some better messages, you know, outside of cars.
Yeah, helping people out there.
Yep.
Helping people out there because there are many people that need help. There are many people that are suffering in silence. There are many people, more than we can ever think of, that need to hear this. They are suffering. They are going through the struggle. You're not alone. You're never alone. Even if you don't have family, you don't have friends, you're incapable of building that support network that we talk about, dial 988. If dialing or talking is too much sometimes, you can chat. You can text 988. It runs 24/7. Different languages. Someone will pick up. Someone will be there to connect with you at the level that you need to be connected to. And remember, be willing to want to live. I am so thrilled. I'm so happy. I learned 2 things today from Mr. Chase. He says he's living for his brother. His brother will not want him not to live, not to smile, not to be happy. His brother is accountable for his action. Mr. Chase is grieving, but he still owns the right to be able to live. And sometimes that living is not just for him, Mr. Chase, but is to live for his brother's memory, to give hope to those who do not have hope anymore, to give hope to those who are struggling, to give hope knowing that you're not alone, knowing that if he can survive this traumatic experience, not just a brother, but a best friend as well, going through this twice, then you can too. And if you feel like you cannot get that professional help, get the professional support. We're not built the same. Some people may go through without that support. Some people may not be able to go through without that support. Get that support out there. There are many free resources out there. You can call us 682-376-6944. 6776 or email us at mercy at allmercypic.com. We will be willing to share a lot of resources with you guys. A lot of resources, free resources that are out there that you just need to ask for it. The second thing I've learned from Mr. Chase today is this. It is so, oh my God, this, I don't know how to put it any other way than the way he put it. It is so easy to hate for no reason. Why can't we just love for no reason? And I want to dive deeper into this. Let us love ourselves, even for no reason. Love starts with you. It is a personal journey. Love you so much that you don't think taking your own life is an option. Love yourself so much that you'll be able to get help to protect that love that you have for you. Love yourself so much that reality to you is living to make a difference in somebody else's lives and not just loving yourself to believe in your thoughts. Our thoughts are not always the right thoughts. Love yourself so much that you can love the next person and realize when they are going through the struggles. Yes, it is easy to hate for no reason. Let us make love an easy thing to do for no reason. Let us not find any reason on why we should love. I want to thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We'll continue with our next podcast. It'll be broadcasted. Love yourself so much for no reason. Don't find a reason to love yourself. And as always, talking about mental health, what is our health without our mental health? It's not something that we talk about today, tomorrow, and stop talking about it. It is something that we talk about it and continue. It is a journey. Let us take the wheels and ride well together. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, bye-bye for now.